Hello, everybody. We Rabbit here, and welcome back to the Otaku Overload podcast, episode 18. The fact that we reached episode 18, our podcast would be old enough to buy some cigarettes, and it's legally an adult. So that's pretty cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Hooray!
Yay.
Hooray!
Um,
But yeah, we are back. We have another episode. This is going to be a bit different. I think it's going to be more front loaded with stuff, and the latter half will have less stuff. But that's just the way this one ended up working out. But yeah, we kind of had some busy weeks, so that's kind of cool. With that being said, as you heard him earlier, Legend Jonathan is here. How are you doing, my dude?
Yo, what's up, boys? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, I feel like I had kind of a more full week this time. And based on
Yeah,
what you told me,
same.
sounds like you the same thing. So that's kind of fun. And yeah, I know you're ready to share some stuff. So go ahead, I guess, if you want.
Um, how my week went was it was pretty good. I finally, after years of not watching the whole entirety of the movie, I finally watched Final Fantasy. Okay, because that's what I said last time.
Oh, I think sorry last
That's
time.
why I purposely did it. Yeah. Um, I saw some clips here and there. I saw a bit of it. Based off the fact that I watched the movie, it seemed like I had seen the whole movie and I just forgot. I finally watched Akira. I finally watched it.
Oh, nice.
I thought it was pretty good. Obviously, I don't want to go into like the whole plot. I think everyone should experience the movie on their own. But what I want to do is like mention how the movie starts or why this stuff starts to happen. So basically, it was like in the year 1988, there was another World War III. No, not another. There was another World War called World War III that happened, and there was like an explosion in Tokyo that resulted in Tokyo being destroyed, and it got rebuilt, and it was called Neo Tokyo. And basically, the reason why is because there was some stuff that they were doing, like I think it was like experiment stuff for like for psyche and everything. And one of those experiments went wrong, and one of the people that was experimented on, they kind of blew up the whole city. So that's why it got rebuilt, and then there was the World War, and yeah. So basically, the whole movie has to do with that person, and their name's Akira, which that's why the movie's called that. And it's about people finding out who this person is. It's about our main characters. They're like a part of a gang. It's them trying to deal with the stuff that's going on. They almost get arrested a few times. One of the people they ended up being like experimented on. I think his name's like Tetsuyo, and everything just goes wrong. But like I said, I'm not gonna go like, oh my God, this happens and this happens. But yeah, the movie's pretty good. I recommend you guys watch it your guys selves. I know that there was a manga that came out before the movie, but definitely the manga's way different from the movie. So yeah, I definitely do recommend that. Obviously, like I've never read the manga, but I do recommend based off of some research that you do read the manga, but that you also watch the movie because it was really good. You know.
Yeah, something I think you kind of didn't really say, you kind of skipped over a little bit, is that this is obviously an anime movie. I feel like you kind of
hmm
skipped over that part. You kind of just like started talking about it because some people might just not know. I'm just saying. So just in case. So what you kind of didn't mention is that this is an anime movie. Came out in 1988, and basically it's a cyberpunk movie. Has like a very heavy, sci-fi aesthetic. Takes place in a not really post-apocalyptic world. What do you call it? Like a dystopian world.
Dystopian, yeah.
Yeah, where like you said, all of like Japan got destroyed, and so now it's like Neo Tokyo, and it's really corrupt and like really crappy to live there, and it's very dystopian and whatever. And what's interesting is that the movie was in 1988, and so they said, oh, there's going to be like that destruction of Tokyo in 1988, which is kind of funny, that same year. And then the movie takes place supposedly in 2019.
hmm
And something really interesting to note before we get back to the plot is that they mentioned something about 2019 and how like, oh, even in the movie they show like, oh, next year 2020 there's gonna be like the World Cup is gonna be here or whatever, and
Oh,
then
the
end up
Olympics,
actually
the Olympics.
the Olympics. I mean, sorry, and that ended up actually happening, which is really funny. So like almost like foretold the future, which is like really weird and like I
And
don't
then if
know.
I remember correctly, like the arena actually looks like the real one too, if I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
correctly.
yeah. Something like
Hmm.
that. It was like really weird. So it felt like it kind of like predicted some stuff here and there. But on the other side though, yeah, the whole point is yeah, it's an anime movie, really cool, cyberpunk, dystopian, supposed to be set in the future. Like you said, it's all about a biker gang and basically two main characters. One of them, he doesn't have powers, but he's trying to stop his friend who does develop the powers. It's
And he has
like
like an
it's like telekinetic powers, basically,
mhm.
and it's all about how he's trying to bring him down. And it's really cool because it was really well made. I think it's kind of one of those movies that came out and really showed people like, holy crap, anime movies are something to take serious because it made like a lot of money,
Mhm.
um, got a lot of attention. The art's really good to this day, the plot's really good, stuff like that. And then obviously a lot of people have really, it's been a part of pop culture where people have really copied the idea of like, like the espers, that's what they call like the people with telekinetics, the
Mhm.
espers and like the destroyed city becoming Tokyo, like that's a whole thing you've seen in a lot of pop culture. Or the Akira slide, because they're a biker gang, so he does like this certain slide on the motorcycle. They've copied that in just about everything now.
Mhm. I gotta say, yeah.
So yeah, like I said, not to like go too far into the movie, people should see it for themselves. But it's just this really, really good anime movie that even though it came out in the 80s, it still holds up really good. But I would say both the dub and the sub, I've watched both of them. Both are pretty good.
I watched it in dub, yeah.
You watched the dubbed, you said?
Because I think I seen it subbed like the clips and like from what I remember from when I was younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I decided to watch it in dub because I was like, okay, like usually older dubs usually either they're good because it's an anime movie or two, it does kind of come out like iffy. So I was like, you know what, I want to hear how this dub is. I thought it was all right,
Nice.
and yeah, I watched
Nice.
the dub, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, so I would say, both the dub and sub are really good. Like I said, still holds up. I still think it's a really good movie. And yeah, it's just like a really fun sci-fi, here's what happens when someone like gets power and how it kind of corrupts them, I can say. And that's kind of where we'll leave
Hmm.
it. But really good. I would say, yeah, Akira, there's a reason it's so influential. People still talk about it to this day. They've talked about like, oh, we want to make a live action version, blah blah blah. They always talk about that. I think at one point, let me see, who was the one who was attached to it? I swear it was like someone really random. I'm just gonna find it real quick. Hold on, let me go down. I
Jordan
swear,
Peele.
who wanted to? No, so, oh, I think he has reference that he likes it
No,
too.
that's the thing. Yeah, I've seen that he puts in his
Oh,
work.
Taika Waititi was the one that was supposedly he had talked about maybe directing a live action version, but he got busy with all of the Thor stuff.
Damn.
That's so weird. Like Taika Waititi just directing um live action Akira. So weird. But yeah, it's one of those things where like don't make a live action version, dude. What makes it so special is
That was animated, yeah.
yeah, it's like come on, man. Oh, and then right at the bottom, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article because I was looking at the whole who was gonna make it. It's funny because it talks about the Akira slide, how it's like been in
Hmm.
everything. And if you go down to the very bottom, it says when Tokyo was chosen to host the 2020 Summer Olympics in the 2013 bidding process, several commentators claimed that Akira predicted the future event. In 2017, Akira was referenced in several Tokyo Olympic promotions. In February 2020, during the coronavirus pandemic, and 147 days before the Olympics, a scene Akira, which calls for the cancellation of the 2020 Olympics, led to a social media trend calling for the
Oh
cancellation.
yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that,
yeah. So
yeah.
it's so weird. Yeah, yeah. That's weird, huh? So it's almost feel like you're predicting
Hmm.
the future a little bit. It's like, oof, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool, cool, cool. So I'm
Um,
guessing that's one of the things you did. So what's next?
so yeah, I watched Akira. I thought it was pretty lit. Litty lit lit.
Oh god, shut up. Shut up.
Um, what else? Oh, right. And then, I've talked about it before, maybe I think. Because I talk about Dragon Ball here and there on the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
I played more of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot because I haven't finished that. Honestly, the way I'm playing it, it feels like as though I'm watching the anime because it's been like 2 years now since it came out, the game on the Switch. Um, Basically, obviously, I'm trying to catch up with the main like story. I'm like on Majin Buu, but I want to talk about something that's unique because it's based off of something like the Battle of Gods arc from
Yeah,
like the Z and Super.
yeah.
But the thing is that it's not a copy and paste like other games or like anime. They basically grabbed the idea of Beerus and Whis, but they
Hmm.
changed it up a lot.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's entirely different. So basically the DLC, because again, it's DLC, you kind of can just do it whenever you want. It's that basically Goku and Vegeta, for no reason whatsoever, for some reason, someone's calling them to Beerus's planet, and they don't know who is calling them or why they arrived on Beerus's planet. They don't even know who Beerus is or anything at this point. So like, okay, like what are we doing here, And they're both like, "Hey, did you call me? No, I didn't. Someone just called me. And that's when Whis is like, "Yeah, I called you because I'm the attendant of the God of Destruction of this universe, Lord Beerus, and he wants me to find the strongest warriors in the universe." And he's like, I looked, I obviously did research, and the two strongest were you and, Vegeta. So basically, the whole DLC is that you train against both Whis and Beerus just so you can get all the transformations, and then you can get the God transformation at the end.
Oh, that's interesting.
So yeah, and so basically this whole time that's what I've been doing. I've just been kind of grinding by fighting Whis the whole time. But it's such an interesting plot because it really is just like nothing like the Battle of Gods arc. Like it has nothing to do with it because it's literally just, oh yeah, we're here. And then Whis is like, yeah, I called you to this planet because you're supposed to be like the strongest people. But since obviously it seems like you're not strong enough to compete with Beerus, I need to train you a bit just so you can fight him.
Why do you think they
And
decided to go like so different?
well, one, it's because it is true that Kakarot is supposed to be it's canon. Like a lot of the filler stuff they put in the game, it's like Toriyama trying to kind of like make ends meet with a lot of like stuff fans want. But two, it's also because since whoever worked on the game, they were so obsessed with like the non-canon stuff like Super Dragon Ball Heroes and all that stuff and Xenoverse, they try to purposely connect Kakarot to Xenoverse, basically. So in a sense that instead of copying and pasting and saying, hey, here's the Super Saiyan God ritual, here's the fight between Goku and Beerus, here's the part where Goku loses to Beerus, here's the part where he says, hey, I'm not going to destroy the planet anymore, we're friends now, type of thing. It's like they wanted to do it because again, it's supposed to be a different timeline, basically.
Hmm.
So that's what they did. They went the different timeline route. That's what they tried to do. That's why.
Oh, okay, makes sense. Huh.
Yeah, so like a lot of stuff is canon, and this is supposed to be canon. It's just the implication is they just said, "Oh yeah, this is a different timeline," and that's kind of it. It's separate from both like the manga and the anime, basically. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was it.
that's cool. So you enjoyed the DLC?
Yeah, and then it's cool because by doing that, you can
Oh,
basically
sorry, just
oh,
real quick. It's just a DLC that reminds me. You haven't gotten or played the DLC where it adds the what you call it from the original Dragon Ball that tournament or whatever.
that hasn't came out yet.
Oh, I thought it came out already. Okay. Yeah, when you actually
No,
said you were going to talk about the DLC, I thought that's what you were going to talk about, actually.
no, that I am excited for because there were leaks that surfaced lately.
Yeah.
And what's cool is that it shows, yeah, Goku fighting against Piccolo when he turns gigantic. And someone's saying that if you know the original Dragon Ball, they don't float at all. They don't fight like that. So people are like, how is it going to work? Like, are they going to make a new mechanic for this DLC where you walk around and you fight while running around? Or like, how is it going to work? And honestly, that is something that I can't wait to see because it is true that you play Kakarot and you can't fight by getting on the floor. Like every fight, you have to float around.
Oh, that's weird. What the heck?
Yeah, so like it, which I mean, it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong with it, or like it's not bad. It's pretty fun, the gameplay. It's just it sucks because there's times where you're like, hey, I want to go on the floor because I want to rest or something, and you just can't because the gameplay really is that you're just supposed to float around and fight. So that is something I'm looking forward to. So that's a good point that you brought that up
Hmm.
because when that comes out, I probably will talk about it though.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cool. Do you know when it's going to come out?
No, they haven't announced when it's going to come out. because
Hmm.
the Bardock one had came out not that long ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Um,
But I'm surprised you said the game came out 2 years ago. The fact that they're still slowly releasing DLC for it's pretty cool.
yeah, dude, like it's been pretty lit. The DLC looks pretty fun because I know there's the Future Trunks one as well. And then there's the Golden Frieza one, which again, that one's completely different as well. Um, yeah, I'm pretty excited for the new DLC that's gonna keep coming out.
Nice. Well, that's cool. That's cool you enjoyed it. That's cool you've kept up with it and all that stuff. So that's good.
hmm
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and this is completely different, but let's be honest, it's like video game related in a sense. We had like basically our own little like Nintendo Direct slash like E3 type of thing at our school because basically we had a thing which is called IDL. I think it's called interdisciplinary language or something like that.
Yeah.
Basically, what you do in that class is you make a project, and it's like you just like how do you call it? You express like your skills basically. So I know for a fact that they showed off because I was backing this thing up for a while. Like I had my own project, but honestly, I don't want like it kind of sucks because it failed, unfortunately.
Mm.
Yeah, that's the thing that sucked though. That
Was it the Soldier Boy?
no, no,
It
no,
was the
no.
Soldier Boy console.
Well, that's what I'm about to get to in a minute. These kids basically made their own Soja Boy console.
Oh God.
No, but it was actually really awesome, dude, because they called it the Burrito Cast because this kid he made in freshman year he made a little like burrito character and he used it as the mascot for their console and
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, why burrito? What the hell?
basically they called it the Burrito Cast because the Sega Dreamcast
Yeah, the
and
little mascot. I got you.
yeah, and the mascot, yeah. What's super cool is that it runs because it's using a Pi, it's using the RetroPie. They made it to run NES, Super NES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance. What else? I remember there was something else they had. N64, I think that they're gonna try to make it work, but I think like if not, they'll just kind of give up on it. And they can run PS1.
What about Dreamcast?
They didn't add that, unfortunately. I
Even though it's
think.
called the Burrito Cast, you said because the
Yeah,
Dreamcast.
I think
That
it's
seems like
probably
that seems like a waste of potential right there.
yeah, but I think it's because if they had to get a more powerful Raspberry Pi, it would have cost more. That's why.
Hmm.
So, because if they had done it, then yeah, they probably would have been able to run Dreamcast
Yeah,
probably.
so hold on. What's it? So you said NES, SNES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance,
Oh,
uh,
Genesis! I forgot Genesis. Yeah.
Genesis, and PS1.
Mm-hmm.
That's all
And
right, I
made and
guess.
oh, I'm dumb, 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 dumb. Game Gear and Master System as well. I just forgot. Yeah.
Hmm. I mean, that's all right, but I feel like at this point, like even a phone can run that stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all right. At least they're, I get it. The whole point is at least they're trying, they're working on it.
Yeah.
Um,
We all liked it.
but what makes it different though, versus just like, oh look, I got my phone and I put, RetroArch on there. Like, what makes this unique? I guess.
Well, I mean, they made a unique shell. The design, yeah, was unique. They
What does it
put
look like?
like the little like the prototype designs for like the PS5 or whatever, the weird little square thing with the weird arrow thing in the middle or whatever. I don't know
I
if you
don't
know
really
about that.
remember. Let me try to look. You said a prototype for a PS5?
I think, or some other PS5, PS control, like PS design.
Let's
That thing
see.
right there. Yeah, that thing right
Yeah,
there.
because obviously I have I share the what do you call it? Image with you through Zoom, so that way if I click something you can see it. So like this one right here I'm pointing at.
Yeah, kind of like that. It has that exact design except without the PS stuff on it and everything.
Okay, yeah. For anyone wondering, you can literally just put PS5 prototype, and it'll look. Yeah, it's like a weird U-shaped thing, huh? You can say it's a U-shaped
hmm
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So it looks kind of like that then, the little prototype thing.
Yeah, it's like the exact design like this, except without the things on the side and the front. So that's the difference. Yeah.
Interesting,
Um, and what's
huh?
cool too is that like obviously you've mentioned that you can't really tell like frames and everything, but they were running like PS1 at like double the speed that you normally would play a PS1 game at.
That's pretty cool.
So like it was like you could tell the graphics they didn't look ugly. the aspect ratio wasn't terrible. It wasn't like stretched or it wasn't like squared in like a weird position.
What about the UI? What did the UI look like?
Um, it looked like RetroPie. It looked nice because it has a little menu where you could scroll from one um console
Like
to the
system,
other.
yeah, system to another, yeah.
Yeah, so they had that.
That's cool.
And it was cool because I'm telling you, like, yeah, everything was fine. The sound sounded great. The controller support, it was cool because yeah, you could just plug up any controller to the freaking thing and it works. And yeah, it was great. Like I really thought I was like, dude, like that's pretty great. And they were saying that they can get me one. But obviously they don't want to be like giving everyone like like one of their things or whatever. They said that they would sell it for at least like a minimum of like 150 or something like that. For
Oh,
one
it's
of
kind
those
of,
little tiny.
see, that's where like, I feel like it's kind of expensive. 150, like I said, for a bunch of you can probably get good emulators like on your like phone at this point. That's where it feels kind of. I mean, I get
Yeah.
what you're going for, but at this point, it's like I don't know.
Mm,
Yeah, personally, that's where I would be like, yeah, no thanks. Like
damn.
it's nice that they're working on stuff or whatever, but yeah, I wouldn't go
Um,
for it.
and then what else? There was a kid that they made their own like life skills game. Basically, it's because they did research that a lot of teenagers and their parents they believe that they don't really have like they haven't developed like life skills to be able to like live out in the real world.
Yeah.
So basically they did that where they did like a whole game like through Python, I think. And yeah, you like click on stuff. It allows you to learn like how to like save your money well, how to like buy your own place, stuff like that. It was pretty cool. But this is where it gets kind of sucky.
Real quick, I was
Even
gonna say
though,
before you go a little deeper into it, how does it present all this information to you though? Is it text based? Is it like an actual game with like a lot of like images and stuff, gameplay? Like, what does it look like?
it's like a clicking game, but it has like a little squares, so like it has like little text that tells you certain stuff. So you click on certain things, and it gives you a little description of like, well, yeah, like it tells you if you saved your money, if stuff like that. Basically, it tells you like what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, basically.
Okay, cool, cool, cool.
And what's cool is that yeah, but what sucks is that they had a great idea, and it was one of the top 10 like best like game like presentations they had seen the teachers and everything, but
Hmm.
they did statistics with us the students, and none of the kids except me and another kid, no one liked the game except me and that other kid.
What?
Yeah, everyone thought it was boring as hell. No one liked it. No one thought it was necessary. And obviously, what made it, one of the best was that they admitted that it was a failure, like the data from the students. So, and then the thing was that the dude was like, yeah, it's okay that, it failed. But the point is that, we know that this, we can improve on it or we can make something else. And, everyone was like, wow, that's great that they took it like face on, and we're like, okay, like, it's one of the best, but it's not one of the best, because
So it
like,
was best in the sense that the critics liked it, like the teachers and stuff, but
yeah,
the
but
audience, the students didn't like it.
the students didn't like it, yeah. And so me,
That's kind of disappointing, you know. But
it
well,
sucks, yeah.
but at least like you said, I can kind of see where it's like, okay. Like I told you, how was it get presented? You said, like, oh, it was just little boxes and blah blah. Okay, this is where you can probably fix it if you want people to be more attracted to it and like it. Okay,
Add more stuff to
let's
it,
yeah,
yeah.
like let's take that core concept and now let's like add some dressing to it. Let's make it like an actual game, maybe with actual things going on. So as you're making the decisions, it feels like not so much like a chore or something, right? So, like I said,
Yeah,
it's nice that they kind of took the advice or whatever, and they're like the feedback. Like, okay, we know what we need to do. We can like work on it. So, I mean, it's
yeah,
disappointing that people were like that harsh about it, but
yeah.
hopefully, yeah, hopefully they go, okay, well, let's take what we have. We have like the skeleton, we have like the actual, bones to it, and let's add some
Like skin to
gameplay
it.
to it and some skin to it and some like dressing and stuff. So, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, okay,
Yeah, it was
cool.
pretty cool. And then what's funny is that these girls, they made a weapon. No, I'm not even kidding. They've made a full-on weapon.
What the hell?
Yeah, they called it Bam Bam Glam because I guess it's like marketed specifically towards like females, like women. Basically, they because it's multiple girls, yeah, they made it so it's like this weird box thing, and I guess it has like a blade or something on it.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. that yeah, like they were like, oh yeah, it's like a weapon, this and that, I think for self-defense, and then it was like one of the top 10,
But
and
how
I
does
was
it
like,
work? It's a box. Like, okay, how does it like attack?
that's the thing that I didn't. I don't know if you press. I think you like press a button and like the blade comes out or something like that. And I was like, dude, like these kids made a full-on like
This is a
weapon.
weapon.
And then
Wow.
the teacher's like, this is like the best thing ever. And I'm like, wow.
That's so
Um,
weird. That sounds weird. I would need to see it to like appreciate it, guys, because it just sounds
yeah.
random.
Especially because it looked like a giant like lamp or some weird thing. Like it was like a giant like rectangle box.
What the
And
hell?
I was like, what the freak is that? And I was just like, I was super confused. Yeah. And
That's weird.
basically, yeah. And then there was other kids that they made, you know how older monitors, like for example, my TV, on stream you can see my TV. It's one of those like 2010 HDMI TVs, the ones that don't have Ryuko or whatever it's
You
called.
mean Roku?
Roku. Yeah, I don't know. I try to say Roku, but
What
then
you're
I
trying to say is
forgot.
it's not a smart TV. It
It's
doesn't
not
have any
smart.
it doesn't have any apps or anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
These kids, they basically got a Raspberry Pi and plus some other stuff, and they were able to put it into monitors and connect it to other stuff. And it basically makes it so that you can use apps on older TVs basically manually.
Well,
So
I
think
mean,
of it
isn't
kind of
that
like a fire, like kind of think of it like a Fire TV stick.
yeah, I was gonna say isn't that basically just like the same thing? Like not instead of a built-in Roku, I was saying it's not the same thing as just like adding a Roku to it or like a Fire Stick.
Well, it would be like that, but like I said, I think you like they put it in the TV itself. Like they built it into it, and then from there you connect it from inside that monitor to the actual like output, capture card style, and then you show it off from there. So think of it like
Hmm.
literally adding like a built-in Fire Stick, basically, like built in.
Yeah, once again, it's one of those things I would need to see it in action to see kind of what you mean.
Yeah, and
But
obviously
all right, that's
they try,
interesting. Sounds
yeah.
interesting. That sounds interesting.
And then there was some other thing that this was pretty cool because I wanted this for a while because I want to learn how to like make games as well. But honestly, I'm kind of limited to like certain stuff to like learn it. Basically, this kid, he made a thing called CodeFlex where you get a language, a programming language, and you translate it into another one. And
Hmm.
usually you would say, oh, well, that doesn't sound like it's very rare. It actually is because you look it up online and you have to like build everything from the ground up just for stuff to work. And this was
Interesting.
like pre-built. Like this is a pre-built thing that you can just like buy or like download. And it allows you like translate stuff and to be able to like make your own games or programs easier.
That's cool. And
Yeah,
what was
so
it they did?
that's what I'm saying. Like you put let's say like you want to get Python, you want to turn it into like C++ plus plus or whatever.
Uh-huh.
You basically put like let's say for example print quote unquote hello world. It will translate into C++ plus plus and it'll have like the different output, but it'll still give the message of hello world.
Oh, okay, that's interesting, huh?
So it translates it well.
Yeah, that's crazy,
Um,
too.
so I was like, dude, that's like what I was like looking for a while. And yeah, I thought it was pretty good. And then finally, there was other people that they had their stuff, but honestly, I kind of forgot some of them. But when I remembered, which it was more of an honorable mention because the people they didn't bring the prototype and they couldn't really like when the presentations were happening, basically they made an app that's for health where it focuses on all types of health, like mental, physical, and emotional health. It basically, like for example, because I asked the people afterwards, I was like, "Oh yeah, congratulations for being, the top, like the top people." I was like, "Do you guys like have the prototype on hand?" And they showed me like, yeah, it's like a little carrot mascot because um that person they like carrots and rabbits a lot, so they made a carrot mascot. Yeah,
Hmm.
basically it'll be like, oh yeah, hi, I'm Mr. Carrot. How are you doing today? And if you put happy, it'll be like good. And from there, it has like different options to help you with like dieting, like stuff like it. For example, if you're feeling sick, it help you like know what to do to help out with you being sick with that thing, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. And they showed like it was like a little phone app. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting, huh? Like a self-help sort of keeps track of stuff for you app. That's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Damn,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of stuff. A lot of it, I would need to see it in practice and try it out to like, really appreciate it. The fact that based on what you said they did, it sounds pretty impressive that these kids create all that stuff. Like that's the thing to keep in mind too. It's a bunch of like high school kids. That's pretty cool.
That's the thing, and that's why when I saw like the kids make that stuff, I was like, damn, like I went to like the right school because like it's so cool seeing all these kids
So
make all these
what
like,
happened with you though? What were you gonna make that didn't work out or
oh
whatever?
boy, it was a video.
But how's that like?
Oh,
Because
basically,
everyone else is
supposedly
making.
supposedly the video I made, even though they saw like kind of like what I was doing, like I had research and everything behind it about like I forgot what it was. I think it was like I think it was like me focusing on like nostalgia and mental health or something like that. Basically, they liked it, but then they somehow didn't like it at the same time, and so it just failed. Like it just didn't meet the curriculum for them.
Mm, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense because it sounds like everyone else is actually making something. Yours was just like, here's some research I did. It's like, where's the actual like
Yeah,
part? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering too, like, how does that match with what everyone else is doing? What are you gonna actually show off? You know?
yeah. Anyways, yeah, that was it.
Alrighty, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, it sounded like that was a lot of good stuff. Pretty interesting. Um, for me, I also had a pretty full week. The first thing I want to talk about is something I watched that I am glad that it leaked. I don't know if anybody knows, but recently Warner Brothers has been in kind of deep trouble. Not deep trouble, but they've been getting a lot of flack because they merged with Discovery, and ever since they merged with Discovery, they've been making a bunch of dumb decisions with like, totally getting rid of all their animation and canceling stuff left and right, and trying to focus more on, I don't know, just weird. Like the guy who's in charge seems like a total dinosaur where he's like, no, we're not going to focus on like streaming and stuff. We're going to focus on like other crap. And they want to make all of their shows like reality TV shows. And like, I don't know, it's just a whole mess, right? And part of
Mm.
that is that they had canceled some Scooby-Doo projects, among other stuff. Luckily, though, one of those projects actually got leaked, and that's the movie I watched that I want to talk about, and it's called Scooby-Doo and Krypto Too.
Oh, that's
So
pretty cool.
basically, yeah, it just leaked online. Someone released it, I guess. They were able to save it from the archive or whatever that was going to get like, deleted. And now, since it's online, once it's online, it's really hard to stop it because people share it left and right, and it like just grows and grows and grows. So hopefully that kind of means it's safe. It's out there. And it's a pretty interesting movie. I was able to download it. I was able to watch it. And basically, it's a crossover between Scooby Doo and DC like superhero stuff. Like the basic premise is that the Justice League disappears. Like Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, they go to the Justice League Association, where we call them, of America. They're like headquarters, and they got taken over. There was like weird ghosts and stuff inside of it, and like Justice League was gone. And so it's really funny because as they're running away or whatever, Lois Lane tells Jimmy, like, Jimmy, like, what do we do when like the heroes are gone? Who do we call to solve mystery? And then she's like, call that girlfriend of yours or whatever. And you're like, wait a minute, girlfriend. And then it shows the mystery gang, Mystery Inc. They're headed to like Metropolis. And so you're like, wait a minute, like, who's his girlfriend? Is it supposed to be like Velma, I guess? Like, what are they talking about? And later, once they get to Metropolis, there's like a whole joke where, like, no, supposedly Jimmy says that Daphne's his girlfriend, and Daphne's all like embarrassed and
Yeah,
stuff. And so it's like a running gag. You're like, wait a minute, why does he think she's his girlfriend? Like, what happened between them? Because she like hints that like, oh, something about like summer camp or something. So it's like really weird. Like, what the hell? So that was kind of funny. And then basically, yeah, like the premise is that the Scooby-Doo gang, they go to Metropolis and everything's being overrun by villains. So when they get there, you have like a fun segments of them, being like chased by villains and trying to not get like the van destroyed and stuff. There's just another good joke where like they show Joker and Harley Quinn and they're like destroying stuff. And then I don't remember what they say about like how they're members of like the Justice League of Doom or whatever. And Fred's like, not Harley Quinn though, she's just an associate member. And then Daphne's like, why do you know so much about Harley Quinn? And then it shows him he's staring at Harley Quinn and he sees like little hearts everywhere, like he has a crush on her, which is like really funny.
damn.
I was like, oh my god, I think your Fred's down bad for Harley Quinn. That's pretty funny. And then,
Ew.
yeah, from there, it's just about how they team up with Krypto, Superman's dog, and they're investigating the area of the Justice League of America headquarters or whatever, and they're trying to figure out what happened to the Justice League and what's up with these like ghosts that people keep seeing and people getting attacked, and Lex Luthor's there, and so like, okay, how's he involved? Because Lex Luthor, he's acting like, oh, I'm not doing anything bad, I'm
You're
here
doing something bad.
yeah, I'm here to repay them because I owe them for like, something or whatever. And so he seems pretty legit, but you gotta know he's up to something because it's Lex Luthor, you know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just fun. It's a really low stakes movie, but it's just fun seeing the Mystery Gang interact with the DC stuff. Like they interact really well with Lex Luthor. There's like a lot of like good back and forth.
Yeah.
And some of the villains too, they show up or whatever. And yeah, interestingly enough, they feel like they fit in. Which makes sense because, Scooby-Doo's crossed over with just about everything before. They've crossed over with like Batman stuff before. And so I felt like that. It feels like, they fit right in. They don't feel too out of place running around and dealing with all these like villains and trying to solve the mystery and stuff. So it was just a fun movie. And like I said, I thought that it had some pretty good jokes, like the whole thing about Fred having a crush on Harley Quinn, and like the whole thing about Daphne, like why is she like supposing Jimmy Olsen's girlfriend? Like what happened there was kind of funny. Oh, that was a good joke where like when they first see Velma, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen,
Yeah.
Velma loses her glasses, and it's so dumb. They don't know where she went.
That's so stupid.
They're like, who's this? Have we met before? And she puts her glasses back on, and they're like, oh, Velma, it's you. He's how like that's the whole point of like the joke
Like
about like
Clark Kent, yeah.
Clark Kent, Superman, how they not recognize it's him. Yeah, apparently they're like really dumb. They're like, oh, where'd Velma go? Like, oh, there you are, Velma. It's like so stupid.
That's so dumb.
But it was fun. And I'm like, man, I can't believe they canceled this movie. It's already done. And it's like it's not great. It's not like the best like mind. It's not like freaking gonna change Scooby-Doo or anything. But it's just a fun little movie.
It actually does somehow.
I guess it starts to gain more attention because it got leaked. People are like, this movie is revolutionary. It's made us rethink Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just a standard movie. And so if you can try to find it somewhere online, because it's out there and people probably posting it to different sites and stuff. If you're able to watch it, I would say, yeah, go ahead. It's a fun little movie. It's a little over an hour. It's not too long or whatever. So it's fun. It's nice,
Yeah, that's nice, bro.
Yeah. Then it was a busy week for video games. It's starting to get even busier, I think, as we kind of go into this year. So they had shown this off, I think, during one of the directs that this game was going to come out soon. And sure enough, it did come out. I am talking about Fatal Frame Mask of the Lunar Eclipse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before I start, something I will say is that I think when the other Fatal Frame game got ported to Switch and everything, made in a Blackwater, I think that one I had been really hyping it up because I'm like, oh, it's so cool. It was on Wii U and it coming off of the Wii U and getting ported. That's awesome. This is such an awesome game. Well, I don't regret saying that because I still think it's good for the series to get ported and get more attention and stuff. I think I confused the Wii U game with the Wii game because the Wii U game, I actually tried it out like on the Switch. I kind of like booted it up and it was really slow and it was kind of boring. I think it's this one that I met is the one I like. That's really interesting. And this one originally came out on the Wii.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. So this one is the fourth one in the series, the Mask of the Lunar Eclipse, the new one. And the other one, Made in Blackwater, was the fifth one in the series. So it's the fourth one in the series that I think is kind of fun to play. Fifth one in the series is the one that's a bit slower. So just throwing that out there. But yeah, I played it, this new one as it, because it came out Switch. It's pretty fun. It's really interesting because it's actually co-directed by Suda51, the guy behind No More Heroes and a bunch of games.
Oh, that's super lit.
Yeah, so he co-directed it, co-wrote it, and he designed it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I was looking it up because I had heard this is the one he worked on, so I wanted to get some more information about it. And yeah, he literally worked on this right after No More Heroes, the first one.
Oh, damn.
It was like his very next project. Sounds very interesting. And yeah, I think this one is definitely more interesting. Even the lore is more interesting because in the fifth one, it's all about like, oh, there's like this island or whatever, and it's cursed, and there's like these shrine maidens that they all like die or whatever, if I remember. And it didn't sound as interesting. It was kind of like, eh. This one is like more intriguing, where it's like, okay, there's our main character, and she's one of 5 girls that they were held captive on an island. And yeah, they were being held captive. They're part of some weird ritual that erased their memories. And so
Yeah.
years later, after two of them die, this girl and two other girls, they return to the island to look for the truth about what happened to them. Because it was something like they were in the island, I think it was like a sanatorium, which is like a mental hospital, but then they
Yeah.
got kidnapped and they were involved in some crazy like ritual type, dark stuff. And then it erased
Yeah.
her memory, and that involves the mask, from the title. And then it's about how she's back on the island trying to investigate what happened to her and to get her memories back.
Yeah.
And right away, it starts way more interesting. The other one, I feel like it was really slow. And when you saw the ghost, it was kind of like not really like, it didn't feel like very threatening. It was just kind of like, oh, there's a ghost over there. It's walking slowly towards me, and it's coming out of the water. And like, I don't know. I just felt very like, felt like really fan servicey. It felt kind of like slow and boring. This one already, you played at the beginning. It's already more interesting because you're playing as the girl, and she's like walking around the island and the sanatorium and stuff. And it's more
Yeah.
interesting, like, the way ghosts like appear and disappear, and you're following after them, and like just like the structure of it, the atmosphere is like way better.
Nice.
It feels like it's crafted more to be actual horror, while the other one just felt very like, oh, it's exciting, I guess. It's more like cool. There's enemies around, I guess, but it didn't feel like scary. It didn't really feel threatening. And this
It
one,
didn't
like
feel
right
like
away
it was
from
creepy.
huh?
It didn't feel like it was creepy.
Yeah, not really. And this one, right away from the beginning, it feels like it's staged better, it's directed better. Like, oh, there's a ghost that goes to that door, and you're like following it, and then it appears like in that door over there, and then like the girl starts having like a mental breakdown. She's remembering something, and like it just feels like it works better, like the production of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when you're fighting the actual ghost, I swear in the Wii U one, it felt really slow. You don't switch, it felt really slow where it's like, oh, pull out the camera and take pictures, I guess. But the monsters are kind of just there. Like I said, what's in it don't really
Yeah.
feel threatening. And here, when you take the pictures, like, because the whole point of these games is it's called Fatal Frame because you use a camera obscura. It's like a magical camera that can like fight off ghosts. And it just feels like more responsive as you're taking the pictures, and it's like helping to defeat the ghost, if it makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely say, it's not going to be for everybody once again, but I would say that, yeah, if I had to pick between the two of them, I would probably say pick this one.
Nice. Okay.
Because this is the one that I think is a bit more interesting, honestly, versus the other one. The other one, yeah, like, I don't know, it just felt slower. It felt like more, eh. This one feels a little bit better, honestly. I just thought it was more like
Yeah.
responsive, and I thought like the production value was a bit more like, oh, it's more exciting as like you're following the ghosts and they appear and disappear, and they go this way, that way, and you're investigating. It just felt a lot more interesting, like right off the bat compared to the fifth one.
Nice. There's
Yeah.
there's a little something for everyone.
Yeah. And then I was checking real quick. It is out on yeah, Switch, PS4, PS5, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. So it's out on basically everything now, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Because originally it used to be basically just the Wii, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, damn it. And based off of what I'm seeing, the Wii version only came out in Japan, apparently?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yes, this is the that's the thing. Yeah, exactly. This is the first time it comes out outside of Japan too.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. And then the last thing I did that's also a horror thing, I'm just saying, like, man, it feels like this month is like full of horror stuff. And I feel like there's just like a lot that's starting to like happen as we're going into the year. It feels like it's getting really busy. I played the Resident Evil 4 chainsaw demo.
Oh, nice.
Like
Nice.
there had been hints here and there. There have been rumors there was going to be a demo for Resident Evil 4, and people have been talking about it. It's coming any day now, blah blah blah. And they're finally released. That I know of, it is on PS4, PS5, and the Xbox systems, I believe. I don't think it's like on
Yeah.
Switch or PC, just yet. I think it's just those. I got it on my Xbox Series S. That's where I play a lot of my stuff. It's my newest, console. So I either play stuff on there or, PC, unless it's like a Switch exclusive.
Yeah.
Regardless, though, I played it and it's really good. I played it and I watched other people play it to see kind of how they, dealt with it. And it's really good. It's one of those things where a lot of people kind of pair it with a lot of people have said. It did not feel necessary for them to make a remake for Resident Evil 4. It's one of those things where it's like, why a remake for Resident Evil 4? Resident Evil 4 doesn't need it. The original game still holds up. The original game's still a classic. Instead, yeah, focus on, a lot of people had said, why not focus on like Code Veronica which has only ever came out like on one system? Or why not
Hmm.
focus on, I think it was the Outbreak, which is like one of the spin-offs or something, stuff like that. People had said, focus on other stuff. I don't think Resident Evil 4 really needs it, but since they're going in order, that's just what they decided to do. And it's one of those things where I'm glad that even though they didn't need to, at least they're putting in the work to make it feel worth it.
Yeah.
Like as you're playing it, like it definitely feels familiar, but different enough that it feels like, okay, it's worth, I want to see where this is going. Like you start, same as in the original game, where Leon talks about a little monologue about how he went through Raccoon City and how now he's a secret agent, how it was like a lot of like tough work or whatever. But it's interesting because if you know about Leon's history with Krauser, here they have a line drop where it talks about his mission with Krauser that you only find out about if you play the Dark Side Chronicles, which was the little like on rails shooter for the Wii. They actually hint about his mission with Krauser, so that's kind of
Oh,
cool. They added
cool.
that in. And then it's interesting because it's the demo, so it's not the full game. But when you start, it starts that you similar to the original game that you get out of like the little car because you're with these like police officers. But
Yeah.
here it's like you leave and they stay in the car. This time around, you are the one who's like, oh, I wonder where they're at. Let me see what's taking so long. And so you're looking for them, which is different.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the first cabin you run into in the original game, here it's totally expanded because in that game, I think it was like 2 floors. There wasn't really anything to do. It's just the first floor, you would fight a guy near a fireplace. Then you could see that around the corner, there was like this thing where you had like a bunch of like skulls and stuff that were like with maggots. And then you would
Yeah.
go upstairs and jump out the window to escape.
Yeah.
Here, it's like a whole building. It's like a whole, it has like multiple rooms. And when you go in there, there's like a basement area that you investigate and you find out what happened to the first police officer.
Oh, damn.
And then you escape from the cabin and you escape similar to the first game, but it's like different, you know what I mean? And then the first game, the original game, it was like that cabin. Then there was a bunch of little cabins leading up to the village. And here it's more of like, no, you're running through like forest area. There's maybe like one little cabin along the way, and then you reach the village. So it's a bit
Oh, cool.
different, the layout, but it still feels like it's still similar though. It's not like it makes sense. It's like, oh, you're still in the forest. It's dark. It's creepy. It looks like it's either like nighttime or like the sun's barely coming out, and it's still like the atmosphere is really good. And then you run into the village, and you see what happened to the other police officer. Which, if you've played the original game, you kind of know what happened to him. And that's when you start investigating and you start fighting all of the enemies as you do in the original game. And then the guy with the chainsaw comes out. So that's similar. So it's called a chainsaw demo. And yeah, and you're investing in the village, and it's the same thing. It's similar, but it's a little different. There's some stuff that graphics are different. There's some paths are a little different. There's some buildings where things are a bit different. Some are it's gonna be the same, but it's just really interesting because it's like, I don't know. It's like I said, it's very similar to the original, but it's different enough that at least it feels like a new experience.
Hmm. That's pretty lit because yeah, I saw other people they were playing it and they were all saying the exact same stuff you were saying. That yeah, obviously even I agree based off of the fact that they wanted to make a remake. I feel like it's unnecessary, but they were saying that there was a lot of changes that they were like, oh, this is pretty cool and unique, and they were looking forward to seeing more of RE4 remake. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really cool because this time around they added some new stuff.
Hmm.
You can always craft the herbs. It wasn't really called crafting back then. It was just like, oh, combine the herbs to make stronger ones. That was always a thing. But now they added a thing where if you find scrap and gunpowder, you can make
You
your
can
own
make your own
ammo.
bolt. That's a I saw someone they were talking about that. They're like, "Oh, this is super cool," because they're like in the original, you just had to like find.
Yeah, it looks like you're gonna find it here too, because I saw that they dropped it.
Well, yeah, yeah,
But it's kind of cool because here you have the option of either finding it, or what I'm guessing is there's some that are more rare, or maybe there's somewhere it's like, I have a lot of ammo for my handgun. I wish I could like use it to like shotgun shells. You can make your own, which is kind of cool. So
that's what I was saying. That yeah, it's super cool because they were like, "Oh yeah, you can make your own shotgun shells and stuff," and they're like, "That's pretty lit," because yeah, the original didn't have that. It was just, oh yeah,
yeah, hopefully
you
you
have
find
to
it.
find. You just hope you have to find like bullets. Here it's like cool. Like if I have like material, I can make more stronger bullets,
Yeah, like you have a little
hide
more
some
you have a little
bullets,
more
and then
control. It's not just, oh, I hope I
Mhm.
find it. Oh,
Yeah.
and then the knife too. The knife, it has like a durability thing, and it's something that
Oh,
they've
cool.
hinted is you're gonna be able to make like your own different knives, which is cool.
Oh, that's super lit.
Yeah. And then the gameplay feels very similar, except that instead of having to stand still to shoot, you can move around as you shoot.
Oh, that's cool.
He still has all of like the close combat stuff, which is pretty cool. He still has like the knife you can attack, although now there's like insta kills with the knife, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's super cool.
And then there's a stealth element where you can crouch. You can kind of crouch around to like attack enemies from behind, which is kind of cool. And someone was
Nice.
pointing out, I don't remember who I saw played it. They're pointing out, they're like, yeah, it actually kind of makes sense because there's some sections where you kind of wish you could like do that and you couldn't. And so the fact they added that feels like a natural, yeah. Like, why didn't the original have this, you know?
Hmm.
But really good, very, like I said, very entertaining. I love that people were worried that they were going to make Leon too serious. So like, oh, I still hope he still has the one-liners. I just want to say that from what I saw, he did still have some of the one-liners. It was really funny. Like one of them, when he's about to escape from the building that he's getting surrounded, he's like, "I'll let myself out," and he like jumps out a window like a dumbass. And then another one is that he like if you've like looked at the trailer, there's a part where you can like it's like a hanging lamp you can like shoot and it causes stuff to go on fire. And he goes like, "Bill me for the expenses later." It's like stupid. He's still saying like his dumb one-liner. So it's perfect. And then of course people were like, it's like the say the line part. Because basically that's where the demo ends. You get to do like the whole first fight of the village. And as you know, that's where the bell rings, and then they all go to church because they're all brainwashed and it's their time to like go worship, you know, the main antagonist or whatever. And so
Hmm.
people are like, "Oh my god, say the line, Bart, say the line." Is Leon gonna say it? And sure enough, right where the demo ends, Leon is like, "Where's everybody going? Bingo?" I said, "Oh my god, it's perfect." They kept like, but he still has the dumb one-liners. Like, thank God, because if he did not have the dumb one-liners, it would not feel the same. So the fact that he still has like those dumb one-liners is perfect.
Where's everyone going? Bingo.
Yeah, because everybody just like gets up and they like totally ignore him. And they just like go into like the church. And so he's like, "What the hell? Like, what's happening?" You know what I mean? Oh,
Yeah.
it's just so dumb. But it's perfect, man. Like you saw as the one-liners. It's great. It's great.
Sounds pretty
But yeah,
fun.
that's it for the demo. Like I said, it's pretty short. Although I've heard that some people, you know, they replay it a lot, they see different things. There's supposed to be like a way to like get like a really hard mode going on. I don't really know how. I'd have to look into that. I just heard about it. But it's just an enjoyable look at the game. And it's like, man, it looks really promising. I really hope it sticks the landing. The only thing I wonder is like, yeah, the game used to be so long because it was three different areas. You know, the village, the castle, and the island. I wonder if they're going to do the same thing here because, you know, it's just such a long game. And I know remakes sometimes, because they're adding so much new, you know, gameplay elements and more details and stuff. It's like, I wonder if they're going to have everything the same or what, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, here they kind of condensed it. Like I said, it was just like one cabin that was bigger. And then, you know, like one little cabin room and then led to the village. So they definitely cut some stuff out. I mean, if they're gonna do it like that, where they kind
Yeah.
of just like streamline some stuff, I mean, it's fine, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's it for my week. Like I said, it was pretty good though. I played some stuff that I enjoyed. I watched a movie that was interesting. I'm really sure. Oh, the thing I didn't say is I'm glad that movie leaked. It reminds me, I mentioned earlier the Scooby-Doo thing. It reminds me of when the Deadpool footage leaked, the test footage, and then everyone was all excited, and that's what got
Hmm.
Deadpool made. I like when stuff leaks sometimes because, especially if it's something that's canceled for no reason, and they're just like refusing to show it to audiences, hopefully they'll notice that no, people do care. All of these things that are getting like animated and leaked, people are enjoying them. Maybe we should stop being like dumbasses and just canceling everything. I would hope, you know.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Warner Brothers has been kind of,
They've been just so dumb lately, man. It's so
yeah,
dumb.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, they've been really dumb lately.
Yeah. Jumping over to the news though, this time it's gonna be a bit different. We're actually gonna have two news stories, and that's gonna be it for this time. We don't really have a topic of the week, just gonna throw that out there. So this is gonna be these two news stories, and then we're out. But I think there's some pretty fun news stories, so I wanted to share them. Number one, as the title states, bug researchers name new cockroach species after a Pokemon. So this is a really fun
Yeah.
little news story. I love when scientists are nerds and they name stuff after stuff from pop culture. I think that's always really fun.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so as it says right here, A pair of entomologists, and it says parentheses, scientists who study bugs, close parentheses, have named a new species of cockroach they discovered after the bug and fighting type Pokemon Pheromosa. The new species is native to Singapore, and its discovery was reported on by Singapore broadsheet The Straits Times. And then it goes to explain that, yeah, they were wondering if it was a cockroach that they had, if it was like a cockroach they had seen before or not. After doing further research and dissection stuff, they realized that no, this is new. It's not one we've ever seen before. And so it says, further down, the findings were published in the Journal of Asia-Pacific Entomology last month, co-authored by Fu Maosheng Christian C. Lucananis. In it, they named the new species Nocticola pheromosa, Nocticola being the name of the genus those species belong to. Both Lucanus and Fu, see, that's the part where I couldn't notice. I was like, why is it's two people? Because it's Fu Mosheng is one person, and then Christian C. Lucanus is the other person. But for some reason, the article puts both their names together, which is weird. Anyway. It says both Lucanus and Fu are Pokemon fans, which prompted them to name the species after a Pokemon inspired by cockroaches. Fu said the new species has similarities to the fictional Pheromosa, such as its long antenna, wings that mimic a hood, and long, slender legs. And yeah, sure enough, if you look at the picture in the article...
Yeah, I'm seeing it, yeah.
Yeah, it has on the left, it has the real cockroach, and on the right, it has a little picture of Pheromosa. And it's like, oh my god, it's so true. It has the long antenna that come out from the head, from like the, head part. It has the little hood-looking thing, and then it has like really long legs. So I can kind of see what you mean. I kind of see what you would call it after that. And so, yeah, like I said, I just think it's really fun that it's nice to see people nerd out and like call stuff, be inspired by like pop fiction. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Real quick about the cockroach. What's funny is that usually cockroaches look kind of creepy. It doesn't really look creepy, this one. It just looks gross. That's it. Like other bugs, it just looks kind of gross, and that's it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, it just looks kind of gross because, of course, it has like the weird brown like texture.
The cockroach stuff, yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't look as weird as other cockroach. I know what you mean. It looks a little more
like if I saw it, I would probably just be like, "Ew, gross, get that out of the house," or like kill it or something. But it doesn't look like, oh my god, like that's nasty and it's scary, please kill it quick, like it's gonna hurt me type of thing. It just looks like, ill, gross, get that out of here type of thing. Like it's kind of
like maybe the wings and the long legs help, because I think it looks more like maybe like, I don't want to say like a moth or something, you know what I mean? Maybe because it looks more like something like the flies, that they're not as creepy as like, when you see like a cockroach looks all nasty and just things, it looks different. It's like more long, and most of its body's wings, I guess, maybe helps. I don't know. I know what you mean. It does look like different.
Flying. Maybe the flying's gonna make it worse, but
or maybe it's because you're looking at Pheromosa at the same time, side by side, and it looks really sexy, and so it's overriding your brain to not be afraid of the one on
the left. Yeah,
so that's what we need to do. For anything that's creepy, we just have to have like a sexy picture, something next to it, and you're like, oh, that's good.
That's comparison and contrast it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's something creepy like Cthulhu, you know how like a Cthulhu story is like, oh my god, it's so, I can't even comprehend it. It's like melting in my mind. Just having a picture of like a sexy Cthulhu girl next to it, like, that's good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, but that's cool. Like I said, fun story. And the last thing I want to talk about is not really a story. It's just like a little tidbit, I guess. Then I kind of want to talk about some of the implications of it, and that's kind of where I'm going to leave off. But it says the Super Mario Bros. Movie final trailer. So I don't know how many people caught it, but on the 9th, they were going to have a little Nintendo Direct where they were going to show the last Mario trailer. And it was a short Direct. It was like, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe. It wasn't very long.
Yeah.
But it was kind of fun because it showed Miyamoto came out. He was talking to some of the directors of the movie. Then he was talking to the different cast members, which was really fun. There was the thing that was kind of funny with Anna. What's her name? Anna Taylor-Joy. She was staying next to Jack Black. And then Jack Black would say, like, oh, yeah, instead of Mario Day, it should be Bowser Day. Like, you should surrender. And she's like, what? I'm not going to do that. And it was kind of funny. It was just like, it was dumb, but it was kind of funny.
It was just him trying to make a Bowser joke. Yeah.
It was kind of fun to see them interact. And then it's something about, like, Charlie Day that, like, oh, it's Mario Day. And like, oh, yeah, but, Luigi, he's also a Mario brother, so it should count. And then, like, Charlie Day being like, oh, thanks, man, or whatever. And, like, it was just kind of silly, but it was just kind of fun to see them interact and joke around.
Yeah.
So it was fine. Then after that, of course, they showed the new trailer. and it doesn't add too much, honestly. It has a lot of stuff you've already seen, like where he's fighting Donkey Kong, and where it shows Peach, she's rallying up the troops, and it shows them getting their Mario Karts ready and stuff. So nothing too new. It just shows like a bit more like extended, like, oh, when Mario gets a fire flower, like so does Donkey Kong, for instance.
Yeah, that's
And
something that we never seen. Yeah.
yeah, and then we see, for instance, more footage of when they're driving that we actually see the enemies throwing shells at Mario, and we kind of see like more of like the car combat, which is kind of cool.
Hmm.
But once again, nothing like too new. It's just kind of okay, expand a little bit more on what we've seen so far. The one thing I will say though that I thought was interesting, and I'm kind of wondering about the implications of it, is that at the beginning it starts with Bowser's castle, and it shows like a dungeon where there's a bunch of guys held prisoner. So we see, which is kind of funny because it's his own troops. So I don't really know why they're in cages, but we see Goombas and Koopa
They did something
Troopas.
bad.
Maybe we see the little penguins from the kingdom he was going to take
For
over.
the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and then we see a Luma. That's the interesting part. There's a Luma, and it has like a little kid's voice, and it's talking about how they're all going to die, and it's being all morbid, and like Luigi's all freaked out.
They're
What
like,
I
oh,
like,
more
oh, what's up?
the Luma says something like, "Oh yeah, more meat added to the grinder," or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's being all dark, and like Luigi's all freaking out, which is really funny. But what I'm trying to say is that okay, there's a Luma. So if there's a Luma, Rosalina can't be too far behind.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, there's a line in the first trailer or second, whatever, one of the trailers where Peach is saying there's a lot of galaxies out there, or something like that, and we gotta like protect them, or something like that. Where she says something about galaxies, and people are, wait a minute, for her to not just say like it's a big world, for her to say there's like it's a big galaxy or something like that, is it? Wait a minute, is that hinting at like like Mario Galaxy?
There's multiple planets.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's like step one. Then step two, we see a Luma and it's talking and hanging out. So like, yeah, is that hinting at like Rosalina's somewhere not too far behind? Does that mean we might even see Rosalina at the end of this movie? Or might she be like a sequel hook for another movie? Like, I don't know, but that's kind of interesting knowing that, yeah, Rosalina can't be too far behind if they're showing Lumas and talking about galaxies, which is cool.
Yeah.
And with Rosalina being definitely like a fan favorite, it'll be like, oh man, I wonder how they'll integrate her, like will there be some sort of like a galaxy level story coming up, or will she just be like an aide, because obviously we see like she's part of the recurring cast. Like, I wonder what that means. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And I'm kind of wondering, like I said, I wonder how they'll play into the rest of the game and the whole movie series, you know what I mean? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. But yeah, that's kind of what I want to say, that, even though they didn't show too much, it's still kind of fun to see more footage. I'm excited for this movie. I'm being like cautiously optimistic. I hope it's going to be good. Oh, and not only that, but the last thing that they said is that it got moved up. It was originally going to come out on April 7th, which is a Friday, and now it's going to come out April 5th, which is a Wednesday, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, they're going to release it 2 days early.
Yeah, movies never really come out. They always come out like that Friday/late Thursday. So I'm really interested that's coming out on Wednesday. It doesn't really happen.
Yeah, because if you look at like most movies, they rarely will ever come out, like on earlier days, unless it's a special occasion. Like, how there's the movies that they always purposely put them for like the 25th of December or Easter Day, stuff like that. They like always purposely try to like find perfect
holiday.
Yeah. That's the only exception I'll ever see. If not, then it's always a Friday or a Thursday. It's around those days that you will find movies coming out.
Yeah, it makes sense too, because people aren't going to usually go to the theater in the middle of the week. You want to release it at the weekend because that's when people will go. But here, I guess it's such a big movie that they're like, nah, we can release it in the middle of the week, and we think people will show up, I guess.
Especially because I guarantee it's also because it's early, how do you call it, April, and there might be, like, they know that their people might have breaks for, like, spring.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, too. It could be because they're hoping that there'll be people, like, on spring break or something.
Because, like, for example, currently I'm entering mine, but I do know for a fact that, they have to give us some kind of extra days for these last 2 months before May or whatever. So I know that that's another implication too. That it's like, okay, there's gonna be people who have spring break, and there's people that have to have some sort of days off because of like nearby holidays and stuff, or like whatever, you know. And so that's the thing too, where you can tell that that's probably a reason why they put it in the middle of the week. Yeah.
Nice. But I'm excited. I hope to see this movie when it comes
I,
out.
I'm saying, yeah.
I don't know. I hope to see it exactly that day it comes out, like Wednesday. But I hope to watch it at least that opening weekend. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. Here
Yeah.
we go.
And like I said, I'm just looking forward to it. So yeah.
Yippee!
God, shut up.
Um, yeah.
But that's it though, guys. That's it for this podcast. Like I said, this time we don't really have a topic of the week, and it's only 2 news stories because I feel like it was really front loaded with our personal stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be it for this podcast. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it all the same, even though it was a bit different. And yeah, hopefully you guys look into the stuff we talked about, because we talked about some stuff that I think it's really worth looking into. You know, like I said, it feels like the year as it's starting. You know, I feel like it was kind of like a slow start, but it feels like as we're getting into the year, I know like there's a lot of stuff coming out. You know, it feels like stuff's really gearing up. So I feel there's gonna be like something for everyone, whether you like movies or games or shows and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna mention about how I didn't talk about Earth Day this time. Honestly, I think I'm gonna take a break from Earth Day for like not like just like a day. I think since I talked about it like quite a lot, and everyone kind of gets like the feel of what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be taking a break from that for like a while, honestly.
Yeah, especially because it looks like the series is gonna keep going for a bit too.
Yeah.
So maybe like when it's like gonna like wrap up or something like the season, maybe you can talk about it then. Like, oh, here's how it's progressed, or it hasn't really progressed much. It's mostly been just a lot of like shenanigans and stuff like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys, but that's where we're gonna leave you. We'll be back next week, hopefully, if everything goes well. We're gonna try to be back with some new stuff. I'm thinking of something that I'm going to try to see if I can get you to watch it. That way we can talk about it. You know, something I've watched. I'm like, oh, you should watch it. That way we can talk about it together. Maybe next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
But besides that, though, I hope you guys have a good one. And we are out. Goodbye.
Goodbye.